And we are live.
Good afternoon and welcome. I, Smriti Gandhi, Director Community Engagement and Executive Editor at Dynamic CIO, welcome all of you today for today's episode, which is the 10th one, the Breaking of Barriers, Women in Tech, where we speak to women leaders who are quite literally breaking through the glass ceiling that once stood in their way and are standing alongside their male peers to deliver incredible results, especially in the tech industry. Co-hosting the episode with me will be Rahul Neelmani, co-founder and editor, Greyhead Media. Women's trust with technology, has been there from a long time since the beginning of computing and problem solving. And the number of females studying or joining this field is still wanting. Now, isn't it surprising, bearing in mind that the first coder in the earlier 20th century was a woman? Surprises, isn't it? Now, let me tell you some interesting statistics on women technology that I have. A 2016 Peterson Institute study confirmed how women in technology is a powerful mix in business. It revealed that the inclusion of women in leadership roles has a positive impact on a company's profit. In 2020, only 25% of the workforce of GAFAM, which stands for Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft, also referred to as big tech, were females. 63% of men in technology companies view their companies as equal employers regarding gender. Recent research shows that women hold less than 20% of the leadership positions in the technology world. Now, having said all of this, there are still outliners and the number is growing. And today we have with us two wonderful women who have more than 18 years of experience in their respective domains, and their presence will surely challenge the concept that the technology related career paths are not only conducive to males. We will discuss with these two guests about their career journey, their experiences, and their life goals, among many things. I have the pleasure to introduce both of them to you, and let me welcome, starting with Ms. Satyavati, who is a CyberS Cloud CTO at Microfocus. She comes with over 2 decades of experience in IT, ITES, telecom, and BPO industries. She holds a host of certifications in cybersecurity, data privacy, enterprise architecture, fraud management, project management, EQM, service management, and auditing. Sharing the platform with her is Nisha Tijare, Head Inside Sales Beam India and SAC. She's an experienced strategy sales professional with a demonstrated history of turning around difficult business areas of operation to drive results at scale. She's passionate about advancing the trend of women in technology. Welcome to this show, Nisha and Satyavati.
Thank you, Smriti.
Hi.
Hope both of you are safe.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the first question that we asked, in the current times, and I hope we don't have to ask this question going forward. Anyways, without taking much of everybody's time, let me jump straight into the first question that I wish to ask you. As I said earlier, less than 20% of women in the leadership roles. Why do you think, let me start with Nisha first. Why do you think there are still very few females in the leadership role in this sector? Is it about stereotypes, education, confidence, or lack of role models, or any other reason?
So, there cannot be any one reason when there's something which is so drastically wrong. And like you said, you yourself said there are stereotypes, there's education barrier, mentoring, lack of role models. So definitely, there are a lot of reasons which attribute to this, but I'd focus on two primary reasons. Okay. Uh, First, the people who are empowered. Okay, it could be men, women, both. But people who are empowered do not work towards the cause of giving the equal platform to women. And that could be because they're not aware that this is a problem, or maybe they do not accept that there is a problem. And so, people who could actually bring about the change, be it men or women, do not work towards it. And two, and most importantly, I would say it is we females. We usually, and we all know, I have this debate going on in my team all of the time. I have a mix of girl, female, and more often than not, a female who's highly performing and doing very good would come to me and say, I may miss by 1K, 2K. I'm trying to figure out what I do and, not very comfortable with that situation. And then there is this guy in the team at 40% achievement. He says, don't worry, 10 days to go, ho jayega. I'll figure out the way to do it. And that's how they are. My son would give an exam and come and say, paper was so easy. I'd get full marks and he'd get, 80, 90. And my niece would come and she'd say, very difficult paper, this, then, and end up getting 99%. So we women by default are not, expect too much from ourselves. We don't raise hands. We underestimate our own potential. We know we can do it, but we don't admit it. We don't respect ourselves. And hence, we don't ask equal opportunity share as much as men do. We do not ask for promotion. We do not negotiate our salaries. We do not go and ask for challenging roles. In meetings, we often end up writing the minutes of meeting and not give our suggestions when we really should. So I think there are a lot of reasons, but things are changing, and it won't change overnight. And it obviously starts from education. If there are less female joining engineering colleges or taking technical studies or doing less certifications, then obviously we're not going to have them go rowing at the top. You have to earn your place at the top, and for that, it begins at a very early stage. And yeah, I think, but to summarize it up, I'd say that it depends on women to ask for that position because there's no lack of competence. There are platforms. It's just that we need to have that confidence in ourselves that we can do it. And if we think we can, we definitely will.
I love your perspective, Nisha. I've always heard, from a lot of other women, when I ask a question, it's always easy to pinpoint at the, point your finger, and you have to realize there are the four fingers that are pointing towards you. So you brought it out very nicely and very boldly. So thank you so much for this. Satyavati, I would want to know your perspective on this.
Yeah, I agree with what Nisha said. I think a lot of things are true, actually. So it's all about the confidence, right? The leadership itself requires a lot of confidence. You should prove yourself that you are the leader. And if a woman is not confident herself to be standing on her own, then how the others will actually accept her as a leader? I think that's actually the blunt truth to all the women who is listening there. It's not that you do not have it. It is that you are not showcasing it. That's the point, right? So as the way she said it, the girls have a lot of things in the mind, in the brain. A lot of things are getting processed inside, but never come out of it, right? As she mentioned, right? So one of the point is challenging others, right? This comes from, as you said, the barriers of culture, questioning others, right? Challenging a point of view is something which we are not up to. At least maybe I consider myself very old, maybe. Nowadays, young generation do challenge. But the point is, the point of you're already a minority in the group, right? You're already at 20% or 30%. You're in the meeting, you are just 2 among the 10 or 3 among the 10. So it's very difficult for raising that voice. So that's why, oh, if I ask, what happens? So because of that, the question was never raised or never being challenged, right? But when you challenge also, there are chances that since you are the minority, there are chances that you will be gushed up, saying that, oh, okay, she says like that only, let's move on. But it so happens, it actually puts you down so much. The person is already taken so much of effort to raise the voice and it has been put down first. So the confidence level goes further down in that cases. So we used to have, we do have in current organization also, we used to have sessions on how do you build that persistence and patience to handle such scenarios. Because you are a minority, you need to understand and accept that, and then keep conveying your message until it is heard. If you are confident that whatever you are saying has a value and it is going to bring some value to that organization, to whatever point you are raising, I think it should be told in the right places, in the right time, right? And keeping it holding on to you is not going to help yourself or others, right? So that's one thing. I think that's not the only reason, right? I think as we just discussed, there are other reasons too, right? So foremost, I think the culture, again, I'm telling culture all the time. I heard, I know I'm not speaking about Indian culture, it is the culture overall. I heard from one of the American speaker whom we brought into some similar session. She said, we also faced this situation 10 years back. You are facing it today, which is number of women are less in the leadership ladder. Even today, I don't think the barriers are filled in the other countries too, right? It is not the Indian culture, it's everywhere. The point here is all about when do you make a choice of something. I think it is important, it's your own choice, not somebody's. Right? Just do not blame because somebody told me I did this. Or you're always figuring out who will support me in this to take a decision. So when you are always actually looking for somebody to support you, which means you are not self-reliant. I think the self-reliance and confidence, I think those are the key for achieving where we want to achieve. I think once a woman gets there, I think we get that. And second is these biases and the biases which are there in the male community as well. I'm very sorry to say there is certain aspects, right? I'll give you an example to make you understand. So myself and my husband are going to a showroom to buy a car. I am the one interested in it. I am interested in a family car, obviously. And I am the one who is buying. I'm going to give the check. And I am the person going to pay the loan. The person is speaking all the time with my husband only. It happens to you? Yes, right? That is the cultural bias which you observe. And me and my husband, even my sons are standing with me. They are very tall nowadays. They actually prefer to talk to my son than me, even asking directions, taking anything, even though I am a director, whatever, right? So end of the day, you understand that you may or may not get the respect what you are seeking in the outside world. However, it's important because of that reason, the reason why I'm bringing this, because of that reason, women believe, whatever I do, end of the day, I'm to go and go cook, clean my vessels, right? Why to take so much of trouble? I'm not going to take the next ladder, right? I think that is one thing you need to take out. I think as long as you are in a certain position, you get the respect whenever it is needed. Yeah. So let me shut up there. I think you do have other questions too.
No, but I think Satyajit, that reminds me of a thing. Whenever you go to a restaurant and if you order a glass of a cocktail or a hard drink, the waiter will come and only give it to the male and not the female, even if the female has ordered. So yeah, that's the kind of things which obviously I empathize with. And one thing what you said about minority, and this whole show is all about, we are all here to change that minority into majority. Yes. So over to you, Rahul.
I'm wondering if I am at the right place among three very dashing and very confident. I mean, women brimming with confidence. And I'm very carefully listening to both of you, Satyavati and Nisha. It was a very loaded question in the beginning, and thank God that you held it very, very powerfully and set the tone for the entire conversation that we are going to have. Now, I am going to drift a little away from the syllabus, and both of you actually touched upon very interesting points. And one of the points that you had made is whether you are making your own choices or not. So my simple question to both of you, I mean, I'll start with Nisha and we'll move to Satyavati. So, did you always know that working in technology was what you wanted to do? How did you decide to go in computer sciences?
So, okay. I did not do computer science, and ironically, this is not something I wanted to do. It accidentally happened with me. So I am just for an academic purpose. I've done BSc botany. I'm a gold medalist botanist, and then I did my MBA in HR. I thought I'm good with people from a very young age because I could get everything that I wanted out from my mother, father, and brother. So I thought I'm very good at negotiating with people and everyone. So I wanted to be with people, but I wanted to be inside in a very special place of mine. And when I was doing my management, I had someone who was also doing the same course with me, who offered me a job in Tata Teleservices, and that's how I got my first job of my internship out of my job, which was a back-end job of an operations person who is supposed to do the commission. Now, he finds me quite articulative and good, and he offered me the role. We didn't have a formal interview for him to know and for me to know that I need to work on a computer and make the commission sheets that would require me to have macros knowledge and, VLOOKUP and everything. And those days were typewriters. I had great speed in typewriter, but that was the first time on the first day of the job that I'd ever seen a computer. So before that, I'd never seen computer in my life, and I had to stay back the whole night in the office taking help from a boy in the team in finance department to tell me how to power on the computer, where is the Excel, how to open an Excel, and thankfully, I get great support ecosystem throughout my career. He spent 3 days along with me because I called for that support to teach me everything with computer without me investing a penny in a computer class. I could manage to learn it on job. And then when I married and I decided to shift to Nasik, which is a very remote location, they said there's no back office work there. All that we have is a showroom and a person sitting there selling SIM cards. So you take the job if you want to. And I said, let me take it. And I'll figure out another job later. That's how I went in. I got into sales, and it's been 18 years now that I'm doing sales. And I'm happy that this happened to me. I mean, it just happened.
Great. I think that is what I was wanting to listen, that certain career choices, for example, women in tech it's not always necessary that you come from a technology background and do technology sales. It is not necessary. However, a strong background does help in certain ways. So Satyavati, the question remains the same. Answer has to be different because you belong to a technology background.
Yeah, so you can call me Satya. I'm not so used to having the long name.
All right, Satya.
So it's our choices, right? Okay. Coming to my journey, I guess. So when I was even younger, right, my father used to consider me as an engineer because I used to get all the time 98% of maths, and also he used to have the dream. I somehow managed it. I got the job in technology department when I completed my diploma of electronics and communication engineering. At that time it is called Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited. Now it is called Tata Communications.
Tata Communications, yes.
Right. So I joined as a technical assistant in the internet department when nobody knows what is internet in 1998, that too. Which is actually, I used to work in shifts. Actually speaking, I have a hands on everything practically. I have Oracle to work on for a database and Solaris for Unix, and then and also the Cisco routers next to me, and also handle customer headers. I wonder how I managed to play so many roles at that time. That's how my journey started. I guess with the cloud coming and people are expecting to wear multiple hats, I think we are coming round to the same place where we started, take multiple roles, like do the administration as well as everything else.
So for you, it was a choice to go into technology. So that's very clear from your answer, from your journey, since the days of VSNL, Videsh Sanchar Nigam,
Yes.
Where you are today. Excellent, excellent. That's how conviction works. And another stereotype that you actually kind of overcame was that, mostly girls, if they were interested in science stream, were either forced to pursue medical or something else, but not engineering. That's also kind of a stereotype which has been broken over the years. Over to you, Smriti.
Thanks, Rahul. So, I will not let Rahul ask any emotional questions, so I am taking that liberty. Both of you have had 18 years more than Satyavati, you have had more than 20 years. A level of success that you have reached today. So I wanted to ask you: can women have it all? What kind of sacrifices that you'll have? Sacrifice is the wrong word, as I already know, but can you have it all? Work-life balance, everything, personally, professionally.
You want
Satyavati,
me to
I'll
go
start
first?
with you.
Yeah. So maybe I go first. No one can have it all. It's whether it is a man or woman. And I think men also understand that, and same applies to women too. But however, there is something called guilty mindset, right? You have always that guilt questioning you to take the choices. So that is where the difference comes in, whether you, because I think I'll come back to the, again, I'm connecting to the same dot again and again, called culture. It is actually culturally, men are supposed to earn and women are supposed to take care of home, right? That's the whole story. That's not true today. We all work and we all actually share the kitchen, by the way. That's a different story. But point is, when it comes to guilt of not able to give enough time to family, it's a lot to lady. Being a lady, maybe I am biased, but maybe same for men too. For us, it's natural to be, conscious of what my family is doing, what my kid is doing, how I can take care of the family. While it doesn't mean that I do not have any commitment to my work. I do have 100% commitment or 200% commitment to the work, but my mind is always going towards what's happening there. Can I give back to that? Right? I think that is the, what we can say, first barrier we need to take off. I'll give you an example to cut that chase, right? I'll tell you. So when I was having a baby, I think I just had my second one, who was just 3 months old, and my work was in Noida, and I was working in Chennai. It's my own choice because we were not able to stay in Delhi's climate, so we returned back to Chennai. And then my project still is there. So every week or alternate week, I need to go to Delhi, and I need to stay there for two days minimum, right? And I have a month's baby, and I am feeding, and I don't want to stop that. So imagine that a feeding mother goes for a day. It's a painful exercise. Those mothers know it. So the point is, first is the physical thing. Second is the mental, right? Physical problem you can manage somehow, but psychological effects of mother not able to stay with the babies or even the kids when they grow up. I think that is something which catches up on you later, right? So what I used to do is I used to plan a lot. I used to push a lot in the beginning, saying, I will do all the 2 days work in one day, patch up everything possible in that 8 hours. So I will actually pull everyone, do this, do that, do this, do this, do this, do this. I'll finish and go in the evening, right? So I haven't understood what was happening with me, because what is kicking me that time was mother, right? I need to finish that. At the same time, I need to deliver. So slowly, when I realized after 3-4 months, I understood, I think I am already reaching in a stage where it's a burnout situation. I don't think this is going to help me or even the organization, because slowly your friends will actually discard you. Arey, she is going to eat me up alive next time she comes, right? They will be actually avoiding you practically, because during that time you are going to occupy them and you are going to give the work, etc. All those things are known because you are already a manager. They have to give you time. So all those messes up your career practically. So what I realized soon, after, I know I have to go through that cycle, by the way, but once I realized that what I am putting myself through, I spoke with my manager. I said, you know what, I don't think I can do this, long-term relationship or long-distance relationship anymore. I'll continue to do it for 6 months, and please figure out somebody. Otherwise, I'm leaving. See, that's a big decision. For my manager, he was shocked, first point. And second, myself, right? First point, I think I have to decide that whether I can manage this or not, right? So that is a bold decision I have taken. I know it might sound really crazy, and you might think it's because, husband might be doing a job, she doesn't need to work. But for me, my passion is to work. I'm going to continue working wherever it is. So the reason why I'm moving out is because it's not going to help me or the organization, right? So that's one of the decisions. And second point is when you're traveling. I think this is another aspect which happens, right? So first travel, when I went to Australia, I was like, why I came alone? I might have come with my family, right? These are not the places where I should have came alone, right? So I was not able to have any peace when I'm outside. I'm working during the working period, but when I have a break of 4 hours, 5 hours, I can't do anything or can't do anything at all. Come back to the hotel, talk to people, sleep. I don't know anything happening outside the hotel room and the office. That's it, right? So later I realized what we need to do is, I think you need to understand that whatever we are setting up right now, is going to help my kids, right? Next time when I went, I actually went to amusement park, took the pictures, and went to ocean park, took the pictures and videos, and started showing and started making the continuation. So that's how I filled the gap. I know this may not be the exact way you will do, but you figure out a mechanism how you can actually avoid this guilt trip. Once you actually cut that guilt somehow in a way or mechanism, may not be the my examples are the best examples. I don't say that, but I recommend you to think about an alternate how you can benefit yourself, your family, as well as the organization. So that's when you can actually keep on moving in the ladder.
I think a lot is also, as Nisha said in the start, a lot has to do with, from it has to begin from us and not from the other end. As we
Yeah.
said, one finger is four fingers are pointing towards us, so it's all to begin at our end. So Nisha, what is yours? I mean, your any.
I usually laugh at these statements. Can women have it all? I don't want to comment for others, but let me speak for myself. I don't want to have it all. I just want to have what is important and what is critical to me. And I have managed to get always, and I have no regrets, things that are important and critical to me. And Satya pointed out a very relevant thing, building up contingency. And I was just getting nostalgic. All throughout our lives, we do that. And it's very important. I'll tell you, to both my boys now, they also quite tall enough. So I tell them that, you don't have any pressure from my side. I haven't sacrificed anything to do anything for you. I did what was best possible for myself. And so you don't have to pay me back for anything. You do what is best for yourself. So there's absolutely no pressure on any of us that I went out of the way and did I sacrificed this. I didn't. I just do what is best possible for myself. And interestingly, people don't get it. When I was pregnant with my second child, and I was working in an organization, so in that organization, once you are promoted, you got to wait for 2 years to get another promotion. So you wait for 2 years, then you work for one more year and show that you are potential enough, and then you get promoted. So essentially, you wait for 3 years to get promoted. And this was the year when my promotion was due. I wanted my promotion because 2 years I'd worked hard for it. And I had my child due in 2 months' time. So my manager walks up to me with very nice feelings for myself, and we've had great relationship. And he says that 2 months, then you would take 3 months pregnancy leave. That time it was 3 months, now it's 6 months, and then you have your own leave, so you would have to give time to your child. So you take about 5-6 months of break. Why don't you do one thing? Why don't you start handing over your accounts to a colleague of yours, so that you can spend time with your family? And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not someone who's shy to call out for help. So if I need your help, I'll call for it. I have worked 6 months to build a contingency plan to ensure that I do my numbers. I get my quota done. I achieve and I contribute to organization, and I earned my promotion. So I'm not giving away any of my accounts. And he loved it out. Those were the days when you had to sign 108 documents if you wanted one internet link or an MPLS link or a PRI line. Okay, so there are these customer application forms and PO documents and all of that you need to literally fill. Customers won't fill. So I had actually went to each of my customers, told them that I'd go on pregnancy leave. These are the forms. I taught their representatives how to fill those forms, gave them address and where they need to courier it, so that when they make the set ready, they courier it to the order entry person, and the order entry person does it. So I built that plan. When I was allowed to go out of the home after 45 days, I would carry my child with me, and because it's a field job, you are in fields, you got to go meet customers. So my child would come with me. I would feed him at a customer place. Customers started building up separate areas, that Nisha would come and she would need a place to feed, and there was support all around. I've never had an incident when I asked for any support and I didn't get it. There were customers ready to support, there were managers ready to support, and I did manage to overachieve that year and get my promotion. So, you got to build contingency. Satya very rightly said, you would have continue to have these problems. Uh, Very personal story, but yeah, I went through divorce, and when I was going through divorce, my child was 8-month-old. And my child was to, I had to take a call that whether I take my child along. I knew that I had increased responsibilities and I was alone. I won't be able to take care of 8 month child as much as my ex-husband would, because he had too many people to take care of the child. And we had an agreement. Okay, till the child is 5 years old, you keep the child. After that, I'll build a contingency. I'll build the support ecosystem, everything to support the child once he's, till he's 5 year old. I used to travel from Bombay every Friday evening after work, shared car, Pune, spend Saturday, Sunday, Monday early morning 4 o'clock so that I'd be in office at 8 o'clock. I've done that for 4 years continuously, no regret. That was the decision I took. I still had people saying, she's enjoying her life. She left her husband. She doesn't want the kid. She's happy all alone. And yes, so be it. You have to ignore the noises. You have to focus on your priorities, and then you'll figure out the way. I mean, there's no rule, no formula for all of this.
Totally. And I think these kind of stories and these kind of personal things. And thank you for sharing such a personal story, Nisha. And this is what comes out that you need to be very bold. And when I said, you can women have it all. If we are talking about, and I'm trust me, I'm using the word sacrifice. I actually mean it. The sacrifices that we women have made personally, and when you have shared such bold stories, this is what I think is very inspiring as a takeaway for women who are listening to all of this. And this will genuinely lead to minority turning to majority. And yes, women can have it all. I truly believe that. Over to you, Rahul.
Yeah, I think these stories tell a lot about conviction, and these stories also tell a lot about that how not to get bogged down by the circumstances, how to overcome these circumstances and still prove that you are parallel to, to whatever superiority exists in this whole universe. So I will, as always, keep it out of syllabus. And I would like to ask both of you one by one, share a little bit about, Nisha, you shared a lot that how you got your child to various client locations. And so, if that dust is settled now, I would like to know that, can you share a little bit about what is it that you do and what is a typical day in your life as a technology salesperson?
Yeah, so interesting. And those of you who know me, those of you who attend, who has an access to my Instagram, Facebook account, I write, I live to, I breathe to learn. And another statement that I've always believed in is that you should grow through what you go through. Challenges, difficulties are going to be there. And, it just makes you wiser. It just, it kind of accelerates your growth journey. So don't be bogged down by it. And as my typical day starts quite early, because I want, you need to identify your prime time, when you have the best of the ideas and you take the right decisions. And my that time of the day happens to be morning 7 to 8, when usually I make quite good decisions. That has been my observation. So I start quite early in 7 to 8 when my son is practicing his Gita and other lessons, and my husband is busy with his other things. That's the time I lock myself to the room, even in the earlier days, and self-reflect on, what I'm going to do today. What is the new I'm going to learn today? How would I bring my better version today? And I do this as a ritual for 28 years today, even when my work life has not started. And that has helped me discover my own self more than anybody else. And then 8 o'clock is when, normally I still am that old school journal person who likes to have a diary and a pen always in hand 24/7. At midnight, also next to my table, you'll have a diary and a pen open. And if I get some idea, I'll just get up and write and scribble it down. So yeah, I pen down my work, and then it just starts with the team and go by the flow. And usually for all of us, it's the days are quite lengthy. At times it's 10, 11 o'clock, or even extended days. We have this habit at home and a ritual that every day we write a letter, just a family letter. Okay,
Oh,
so because there have been days when I was traveling 20 days, my husband travels 20 days. So, how do we know what's happening in each other's life? And we need to know what's happening in each other's life. So we have this habit, all of us, four of us, write a family letter every day and puts it on the table. And we all read it as and when we get time. So that has helped me improve my handwriting a bit. It was horrible when I was a child, besides anything else. But that keeps me updated with what's happening with both my son and what's happening in my husband's life and how are we going through thick and thin. And that's where we kind of keep advising each other a bit. So I look forward to reading those letters at midnight at times, or now thanks to technology, I get it over Google Chat, and multiple other formats. So yeah, that's how a typical day in my life look like.
no, that's great. I mean, besides what you do to excel in your professional journey, I think you have had some very philosophical, traditional things that have actually kept your ideas alive. So, if I may ask, that diary and the pen that you keep, apart from writing work-related stuff, do you also write something else?
It's very, yeah. So it's a mix of everything. So even my Excel sheet. So diary has personal things that I write, has me things. There are a lot of me things. I am a me person, and I don't shy away telling that I think about myself. I want to make myself happy so that I can make others happy. So I've always believed in that, and so I write the things that I want to work on myself,
Uh-huh.
then for the family and the people that are important to me, within our organization, outside organization. Now, thanks to technology, you get to mentor a lot of people who you may not know personally, but approach you via LinkedIn or via multiple other platforms, and they come to you to seek advice basis your experience, and what do you contribute to them. So I have a special list for them, then obviously work related and more my vision related. Now, I always ask this to myself, what is the legacy I want to leave behind? And am I working towards building that legacy? Because you don't build legacy overnight. You got to work towards
Absolutely.
it. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
it is a mix of all of that.
So Satya, as I said, the question will remain the same. But since you are a thoroughbred cybersecurity person, I mean, technology graduated to cybersecurity. How does your typical day look like at work and at home?
I think as the cybersecurity goes, right, it's as dynamic as it can be. And being working in a global organization, sometimes I need to stay overnight. Sometimes I need to take early calls. So I don't think there is a definite, what we can say, timeline at which I'm working. But one thing I continue to keep as a rule of or a rule for myself is I think we should have lunch together, family. Nowadays we are working from home, and I do have my in-laws and my two sons and my husband. So it's a full table, Having lunch together is something very important. No matter whatever the call is, I will tell them to push left or right, whatever. But the idea is that 1 hour is ours, right? So sit together, talk together, and chat and discuss. I think that's the best time we have. Nowadays, the college started again, by the way. So we are just figuring out maybe the dinner is another thing we need to try to push. The problem with that is I work in global organization, as I said, Europe and US comes in the evening, takes
Right.
away my dinner.
Right.
So I do not know when my dinner would be. So that is one sacrifice maybe I'm doing right now. I'll figure it out. But what I'm doing at least is we will actually discuss during the lunchtime itself, when is my meeting time, when is my free time, 30 minutes, whatever. And then we'll make sure that at least myself and my kids sit together and have a chat, not dinner, but at least sit together and discuss on what happened that day. That's how we manage it. To just, we believe working from home is going to give a lot of, balance, but it is not. The balance actually twisted to the other side. It may be because of me not putting proper, what you can say, control for myself. I don't know why, but that is what is happening. because there is no other entertainment than working. Okay. So that's how my life is. I think it's much simpler than the Nisha's best practices. I do not think I'm a person who is following any best practices there. I think those are really great. Having a quiet time for yourself. I try to follow at least 4 times in a day to do, yoga or pranayama. Those are the things I try to do, which is something I think doing 4 times a day, week is itself is a little complicated for me in a certain time. So certain times I managed to do all the 7 days. At that time I feel myself, wow, I have done something. So true to myself, I think I should follow you, Nisha. I think I should put a control on myself and get an hour of time for myself in the morning.
You must steal the time for yourself.
I agree.
This is where as I said, you're in fact, we talking in a room and, we getting inspired by each other. And this is what we're looking at, inspiring a lot more women than this. Rahul, asked a very question about, how your day goes and everything. But, as we spoke about having a me time, or, that typical, if I take a movie dialogue, मैं अपनी favorite food type, how do I create, in a leadership role where I know that creating a strong personal brand for myself or as a woman for ourselves is very important. What do you do to create that in a leadership role? So, Nisha.
मैं सच में अपनी फेवरेट हूँ, but that's besides the point. There's another famous Hindi dialogue that says, "जो दिखता है वही बिकता है." You end up buying things that are most advertised without really getting into the ingredients or the power of it. And why would it be different for your individual self? Okay, uh, I may be good at something, but how would you know about it until and unless I really talk about it in a logical way? Now, there are two aspects to all of this. One is it is important for me to promote what I am good at so that I get equal opportunity to do things that I'm good at. But at the same time, it is important to know why would you want to hear that? What is in it for you? So when I build my story, it's also important to get an answer on why do I care. Of late, when I see, these social media being increasingly used to create more noise than to create more impact. Okay. And that's where I say, why do I care or what do you care for? You can create your personal brand or you can talk about yourself only when you know what you want and what is it that you can contribute for. Now, I see people, sharing, talking on various topics. I've had people, come on a panel discussion on leadership, women topic and talk about it. And you go to their Twitter account and, you find them writing all horrible things that just don't match to what they say. There have been debates around, Bollywood actors and actresses endorsing female creams and white creams or whatever, and then eventually going and talking, color doesn't matter. So, it is very important before even you start talking or creating social brand or personal brand or anything for you to know what is it that you want. What are your strengths? Every interview question, you'd be asked, what are your strengths? And still, trust me, I have had those candidates, interviewed in multiple organizations, telling me different strengths all the time, and again, not very convincingly. So I wonder, do they even really know what their strengths are? And did they really invest the time to figure out what their strength is? And we are very good in advising others, but when it comes to self understanding, we aren't that good. So I do advise, and I strictly advise to every person that I come across that you won't get anything unless you ask for it. And because nobody knows, what you want and what you are good at, so it's important to self promote. It's important to build your personal brand, but for that, it is even more important to know, how can you bring about a difference? What is it that you want to convey? And how can that help in a larger picture? How can you bring your own learnings, your own wisdom on floor to bring about change to someone else's life? You would have gone through 10 difficult things. Make it 7 for someone else or 4 for someone else with your experiences and your best practices. So that's what your whole personal brand is all about. It's not just about, making noise. I mean, that's just my way of looking at
We have
it.
a lot of best practices today that we've discussed to take home. So thank you so much for that. So Satyavati, moving to you. Sorry, Satya, moving to you. I'll put
Oh, it's okay. It doesn't
for
matter.
personal. So
Just
how do
making
you,
fun of it.
what do you do to create a strong personal brand, to be seen in this leadership role?
I think Nisha spoke about all those already. So I take the other dimension, right? Why somebody has to actually do the branding? Why do I need? Why do I care? Right? I do my job, I go home, right? So that's what I am. I was maybe 10 years back, probably, or 15 years, I don't know. So like I come, I do the best of my job. I just do whatever, deliver and go back, right? So that was my scenario or situation at the time. But I used to expect that, yes, I think by doing what hard work, I think you will be recognized, right? That's the most important thing. Do the hard work and just leave the results to the God. So that's the originality, right? So when I realized that that is not happening, the reason is, I'll tell you, it's not about the doing the brand thing, doing actually the recognition of your own work yourself, and actually conveying that to your own leadership. The reason is your manager always like to know what you have done the best, so that he can go and quote to the others, and his manager also want to know that what is happening. So in my case, I was doing work, but I was not presenting the results or the impact I was bringing on. I was just doing and going, doing and going. So I was not even bothered that what impact I'm bringing on to the next stage. So the self recognition of how it is going to impact to the next layer and then conveying where it is needed, I think that is what changed the perspective, right? When I started conveying, what, this week I have done this. And first time I did this with numbers, I was like clapped. I mean, everybody in the floor clapped, saying that, wow, this is excellent, exceptional. Then I said, what? This is what I'm doing all the time.
So true.
So that the challenge is being recognized is different from doing work. I think this applies to men too. There are a lot of men who do a lot of great work, but they don't actually call out what they did. I mean, that is going to not just affect them, but all the managers, right? Because the point is, the manager never know that this guy is doing excellent stuff. He's actually still gathering, or a year, how can I get this done? How can I tell the best stories to the next layer? So I think that is the first moment of truth come to me, that, it's important for me to know what the expectations of the manager was, and what is that I'm delivering. Are they meeting? Are they not meeting? What is the organization's interest in it? And how I am actually connecting to that last drop, what the organization is expecting at the large scale. So once I connected that story and then was able to deliver, I think that is when the recognition started. I think the brand, as I think Nisha mentioned, brand speaks by itself. I think what you see is actually the work. Once you showcase it with right insights, right facts and figures, I think you are editors and you know it. So once you present the facts and figures, they speak by themselves. You do not need to do marketing. So to me, marketing is actually the result itself. When the impact happens, everybody knows it. And one more thing I tell you is recognition. I'm not speaking about personal brand here. I'm speaking about recognition. So recognition never happens when you're expecting for it. You might have thought you have done 100 things and you might have delivered 200% results, but you might not have got the recognition. But you might have just simply pushed one button and you might have got the recognition you are expecting. So I think the part of initial quote I said, not expecting the recognition, but keep doing what you are doing, I think gets you where you are going. And coming to the personal branding, I think more than the branding, it's all about realizing yourself, what you can bring to the table, and being conscious of what you can do it for the team around you. As you said, Nisha, how can you impact the life of others? How can you mentor people the other table, right? I'm a leader, I know that. And I know that, right? So I realized myself that, yeah, I am the leader because I moved from a certain stage to certain stage today, but these girls are staying where they are. Let me push them out, right, from that corner and give them certain advice. So giving the advice and connecting them, their stories, I think those are the things which are actually a kind of indirect influences to your own brand, which are not directly you are shaking, saying that, I am the mentor of the world, but actually you are doing by influencing somebody's life. And that even a small elevation of their role, or even they're learning a new skill, helps you a lot in your personal life. So that is, I think those are the areas where I started my journey with. And now I think it is in a stage where I think I was able to establish certain connections, like the great people like Rahul, on different forums, and connecting in the networks is another thing. Networking is another aspect. It is not about branding, but networking, connecting with the right people at the right time. And again, not to actually conveying, doing the self marketing, but just to know people. You're going to conference, it's not your interest to meet all the 200 people, but just meet 2 people or 3, but make the right connections. That will help.
Wonderful. I mean, this is such an engaging conversation. But what I feel, I heard both of you very, very patiently and carefully. If it is not about branding, at least we all should be very consciously communicating both our efforts and our outcomes.
Yes.
It is very important in the age of information overload, because if you don't communicate, then there are a lot of shrewd and clever people who would like to supersede you with kind of hyped information, which has little substance in it. And Nisha, you said jo dikhta hai wahi bikta hai. And our bosses, our managers, our boards, our management team, CEO would tend to believe in what they are being portrayed. So I am a great fan of people who communicate effectively. I mean, one has to differentiate hype from reality.
True.
So be real, but effectively communicate as much as one can. And that's where this word or term called branding might just fit in. So we are coming to the fag end of this conversation. My question to both of you is that what do you think is the best part of being a woman in the tech industry? You may go with you, Nisha.
Being woman and herself is the best part. So I changed the topic a bit. I mean, in a very negative sense, but when I received my first President's Club award, that was in 2002, and President's Club, for people listening and don't know, are the 1% top performing people in an organization, gets to be called out. And there were 28 men on stage, and I, the only female standing on the stage. And when I got down, and I was very happy and went into canteen, and I saw these men hugging each other and looking at me very strangely. And someone passed loose comment,
Oh, okay.
she got it very easily, just because she is a female, she has a good face, she smiles, so she gets it. Nobody. Actually make 5 calls a day when others make 2 calls. I wait up in the office, to complete my assignments, but none of those stood as competencies. What topped the list of the competency chart was the fact that I'm a female and I could smile, probably. So I think I have all. Then I said, if this is something, then this is something that nobody can take away from me. Men can't be female like this, and they can't smile like me. So this is me, and nobody can take that away from me. And yes, indeed, by default, we are blessed with some great qualities as leaders. We know how to take care, how to nurture. We know how to multitask. If you need an advice, just think, when you were as a child, men, women, doesn't matter, when you were a small boy, girl, किसके पास सलाह लेने जाते थे? You would always go to your mom. You know that, she would have time for you. She would listen. So we have those inherent listening skills. Now, these are the traits which makes you a good leader, which we have. We don't have to develop. It's natural to us. And so, we definitely would love to leverage this. I don't want to be men to have a leadership position in a men's world. I just want to create an equal world where, irrespective of the gender that you have a voice at the table and you share an equal platform. That's all a little thing that I want, and I've always got. So no regrets. And I hope that I make this available to everyone else that I come across in my life.
Satya?
So I think the word of this woman in technology, right? I think that sometimes I feel like, why women in technology, right? There are, I know, see, the point is I was leading this women in cybersecurity forum. I was leading. So then men asked me, right, why women in information security? Do you think there are no men in information security? We don't require training sessions like you are doing. We don't require a career path plan like you are doing. Why this diversity? Or I'm actually speaking, they complain saying that this is actually, you are not doing right treatment. This is unequal treatment. You are getting special treatment being women. So I think there are certain discussions which continues to happen in organizations. I'm telling the fact. I think, to me, the reason why these groups have been formed, I think, as Smriti earlier mentioned, to actually bring down or increase the people or number of people in the boardrooms, number of women in these boardrooms, and giving them certain additional, pampering, so that they grow up fast and then they actually come to a right track, etc. So that was the reason these women and technology groups have been formed. Long back, I think that's been started long back in various organizations, and I am happy to be in these forums. And one more reason I'll tell you is women has this issue of not able to talk about the internal thoughts, right? So a lot of internal discussion happens personally. I mean, not everybody, maybe there are minorities, there are people who can speak out, but there are a lot of people in average, they don't express. So because of that, not being able to express their own uncomfortable position, either in the family or in the office, I think it will actually help them to form these small groups, like as a group like WIT, which is Women in Technology, or Women in Information Security, Women in Legal Practices, etc., to give them that kind of comfort to start sharing their pain, what is that they're causing the pain, and give them the support needed so that they can actually go further in the life. At the same time, we are doing this discussion today. Why? We are doing this discussion to actually motivate the ladies who are there, who might have a similar confusion in their mind. How do I manage this guilt trip? How do I manage my family? How do I manage my baby at home? Or how can I continue my career? And how can I actually reach a position of CTO or CISO tomorrow, right? So what are the major problems? I think that is the reason I think these committees have been formed, and I'm happy to be here. And I'm really happy and proud to be in a situation where I can start giving certain guidance, right? And wherever it is needed, and I do that. I think I'm not so great in Facebook. Just excuse me on Facebook, friend. But on LinkedIn, if you believe and you have a genuine requirement and you are looking for a real support, just do write, saying what exactly you are looking for. And another challenging point I want to throw there in the mix. There are certain comments comes in, what do you think I should do? Okay. So what do you want me to help in? Right. So the point is, the reason why I brought this point is, I think, first of all, before reaching a mentor, before reaching a guide, think about your own problem statement properly. So what is the problem you want to address, right? What is the coaching or support you are looking for? Spend some time, understand that, and reach out to the right person. And I'm 100% sure people are there to advise you, guide you. There are a lot of people. It's not necessarily a woman. Could be a man. You might be surprised the kind of guidance you get it from the men, right? First thing is just be conscious that they could help only if you explain, you tell them. Don't ever imagine that they will know it just like that. Because men's mind work differently, women's mind work differently, right? So it's important that you express very clearly what is your problem, and ask for it, and then you get it. So coming back to the question of WIT, I think these kind of groups should exist. I'm really happy that I'm being part of it.
One question that has come from one of the viewers is, what are your successes and failures that have actually helped you in shaping who you are today? So both of you can quickly answer because we will be running short in time.
We already short of time. I'll go quickly. So my success is that I'm still surviving. I don't want to elaborate too much on that. We all have survival battles. We fight that battle every single day. And if you have managed to reach to the next day, you're already successful. So don't overthink about successes too much. And I'd say that what I am today is thanks to the challenges, difficulties, and the issues that I have faced all my life. Had I not faced them, I wouldn't have been this experienced. I wouldn't have been this wise. So I always embrace, if you want a promotion, just think of an interview. The first question you would be asked is, what are the challenging situations that you have solved? Because until you have really made your hands dirty, you wouldn't know how to get out of it. So don't worry about challenges, difficulties, or problems. Everybody has it. It's just how much importance you want to give it to the problems and how much you want to learn out of those problems is in your hands. So there are no failures. There are absolutely no failures. There's just learnings. And it's good that things don't work because then they tell you what works. So it's perfectly fine for things not to work. And as I said, my success also, the problem with women is if you ask this question to women, they'll end up saying, thanks to my husband, my family, my ecosystem. You ask this question to a man, they say, I'm awesome. So I'm just trying to change the trend, okay? All that happened good with us is because we decided to do good to us. So I take all the credit for it.
That's quite bold and I liked it, frankly. Satya.
So I think I agree with Nisha that the failures make us perfect. And as long as we are there to learn from it rather than just keep on going through the hell loop. There are cases where there are times where I reach there. That is something called loop of hell, right? So, you are not able to meet the expectation of what you have set yourself up to, but you are not able to reach there. So, and then once you keep spending there, what happens is your energy is draining day by day. I think that applies to men and women. I think coming out of that loop is something which is very important. Yes, quickly you can come out of that failure loop. I think that is the time you start actually jumping faster and accelerate to the next stage. At times, losing the job is also good. I give you maybe a story later, but the point is at times losing a job also gives you a better idea that what are the different options available, right? So that is the time you understand, okay, there is a possibility and how can I market myself better, right? I know that is the worst case scenario, something can happen. So what is the other worst case scenario? Dying, right? One is losing job and second is losing your own life or losing some loved ones. Anything else in between, I do not call it as a failure, right? So you are just on the track. There are some mishaps happen, right? People who are actually worried too much about anything other than those three parts, what I mentioned, I think that's not worth of your, worth to hurt your mind a lot. Just concentrate on the next thing and keep moving.
Yeah.
Great. I am done my set of questions. If you have anything, Smriti?
No, thanks, Rahul. I think this was an amazing discussion.
Absolutely.
Very inspiring, very bold. So thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your personal experiences and stories in your personal life and professional. And, thank you so much for this. On behalf of Dynamic CIO and all the viewers, let me thank Nisha and Satya, both of you. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Thank you for having me here and appreciate that. Bye.
Thank you.